Hello, today I'm going to be discussing chapter 4, working with lists, and I'm here with my navigator, Katie. So,
I'm going to navigator.
yeah. So, let's begin. So, working with lists, we have this first, try it yourself. Um, so, basically, just going to store pizza names in a list, right? So, different types of pizzas within a list. So, we're going to create a list, and then going to modify the for loop to print a sentence using the name of the pizza instead of printing just the name of the pizza. So it's gonna be within a string basically, and loop through each name in the list for pizzas, right? So we have this list here created that I created favorite pizzas, and it has all the different values in it. So in order to loop through this, all these values in this list, use the for loop uh, with this variable pizza, and it accesses favorite pizza, and when it does that it loops through each value within the list. And because we're printing the whole string, not just pizza itself, we have I enjoy, and replace the variable pizza, which basically loops through all the names within pizza, and it will give you a final result when you print it in the terminal. So as you can see here, I enjoy pepperoni pizza, that's the first name in the list. I enjoy margarita pizza, Hawaiian pizza, bacon pizza. So it loops through all of this while printing this whole string. And then outside of the loop, you just print this string which says pizza all day makes me happy. Then for exercise 4.2, essentially almost the same thing, but just with different type of list. So think of at least 3 different animals that have a common characteristic. Store the names of these animals in a list, and then use a for loop to print out the name of each list, each name of the animal, so on. And modify the program to print a statement about each animal. And yeah, so we have the animals list here, and the names of the animals in the list. Then the for loop, basically, as you were saying, it loops through all of this, and when it does that, it prints this whole string, accessing this variable animals, which goes through all these values. And when you run it in the terminal, you'll get this: a lion would make a crazy pet, and it goes through the next value. A cheetah would get a crazy pet, and then the last one for leopard over here. So yeah, that's that exercise. Then over here we have a for loop. In order to print numbers between, let me say, from numbers from 1 till 20, right? In order to print numbers from 1 till 20, we'll obviously use a for loop, right? And basically we have this variable number, right? So we just assign a variable here, number, and what we use when it comes to numbers is in range. So in range will basically go between 2 numbers, right? And print all numbers between those 2 numbers, right? Except the number that you declare here, 21. So if we want to print 20, we say 1 comma and then 21. But let's say we want to print 30, we'd say 31 basically. But in this case we say 21, and we call it by printing the number, which is this array. And what it does is it prints all the numbers in range of between 1 and 21. That's the best way I can describe it. So when you do that, we have a list of all the numbers here. So 1 all the way through all the way through till 20, because that's what we're accomplishing, printing 1 to 20. Then here we have exercise 4.10, slicing, right? So with slicing, basically using one of the programs you wrote in this chapter, add several lines to the end of the program that do the following. So print the first 3 items in the list. So basically printing the first 3 items in the list, right? We use slice to print the first 3 items in that program's list. So in order to do that, right, basically firstly we're gonna print this string over here. The first 3 items in the list are. This is just to make it presentable, right? So here you'd say the first 3 items in the list are, and then essentially we're gonna slice certain items within that list, right? So let's go to favorite pizzas. So it's at the top. So we're gonna slice. What we're trying to do is get the first 3 pizzas, right, in this list. So pepperoni, margarita, Hawaii. So in order to do that, we have to index. So the first index, we're gonna say favorite pizzas indexed by 0, right, which is this first one, pepperoni, right? And then because we put indexed by 3, right, we're gonna count and say 0, 1, 2, 3. What happens is from 3 onwards, all of that is sliced. So index 3 and 4 is gonna be sliced, not index 0, because when you place it as the first index in the slice, it prints from 0 all the way to where it's sliced. So we'll get these first 3 values when we use the slice method over there. So here's the line of code: print favorite pizzas indexed by 0, colon 3. So in order, when we slice that, what happens is hold on. Just want to see it on the terminal. It should show. Let me run this again. Oh, here. My word. So yeah, it shows here pepperoni, margarita, wine. That's the final result of slicing in order to get the first 3 values in this list, basically. And then 4.11, exercise 4.11. Let's go through that quickly. So Katie, anything you want to add so far?
No.
Alright.
Makes sense.
Okay. So yeah, here we have starting your program from exercise 4.1. So we're going to use exercise 4.1 to do this. So make a copy of the list of pizzas and call it friend pizzas, right? So we're making a copy of basically the list up here, favorite pizzas, right? But the copy of that was gonna be called friends pizzas, right? And what we're gonna do is we're gonna add a new pizza to the original list, and then add a different pizza to the list friend pizzas, which is the copy of the original list. So here we have the original list favorite pizzas with all the pizzas here, and we have this for loop would basically, like as I mentioned, it indexes to all of this and prints all the pizzas for favorite pizzas, right? And then that's why you'll get I enjoy pepperoni pizza, I enjoy margarita pizza, and all of that, right? Oh no, sorry, looking at the wrong one. Here, it says my favorite pizzas are. No, this is the correct one. Confusing myself. I enjoy pepperoni pizza, I enjoy margarita pizza, so on. And then this just prints outside the loop over here. And then, because it basically said we should make a copy of friend pizzas. Sorry, a copy of our favorite pizzas, and then call it friend pizzas, right? I went with a quicker function, essentially. I think what I thought we should do at first, which is still good, but creating a new list from scratch and then calling it friends pizzas. Sorry. Then calling it friends pizza, so basically just using the same list within this new using the same values within this new list. But I think a quicker way is this here. So just basically assigning the new list friends pizzas and using the equal operator, and then assigning this old variable, or the old list, let me say, favorite pizzas, right? What happens is, because we use this index, right? This index with this colon, which is meant for slicing, because we don't have values within it, what happens is it collects all the values within favorite pizzas and it passes it into the new list, friend pizzas. And because of that, friend pizzas will be a copy of favorite pizzas, like an exact copy, right? Which is why it's displayed over here. So that's how we make a copy of a list in another way. And then over here we will add barbecue pizza to basically the favorite pizza list, right? So in order to do that, in order to add a new value, we just use the append method, and what happens is when you do that, it just adds a new value to the list, essentially, but at the end. And then we use friend pizzas, and we're gonna append veggie supreme. So we're gonna add veggie supreme to the end of the list, friend pizzas. That's why it shows here veggie supreme, because it's added there. So next step is to basically print my favorite pizzas and use the for loop to basically print a whole list of favorite pizzas, right? And we use the for loop here to do that, and when you do that, it will basically print here a whole list, because it indexes to all of those values within that list. And then also for friend pizzas, the exact same thing, and then you get this as well. So yeah, then for this last exercise, 4.13, so creating a buffet list, or let me say creating the menu. You have what the restaurant offers, 5 basic foods, using a for loop to print each food in the restaurant offers. And yeah, so in order to do that, just created the list here, using the for loop to print each value within the buffet menu. And over here we're gonna index, right? So we wanna get let me see what we did here. yeah, so basically replacing two of the items with different foods. Add a line that rewrites the tuple, and yeah. So yeah, I think I made an error at first. Actually, this is not a list. It's a tuple. So here we have a tuple, right? A tuple basically cannot be changed. Let me say it. So it cannot be changed. So basically, we're just gonna use the for loop to go through all the items in the buffet menu and print it. So what I attempted here is to try and see if a tuple can be modified, of which it can't, which is why we get this error over here, right? The tuple cannot be modified basically. So we're trying to index grilled chicken, and we're trying to put steak there, and it just doesn't work. It cannot be modified. So that's how tuples work. And then yeah, just made a new tuple over here, and then using the for loop to print through each value in the buffet menu. So yeah, that's essentially all the exercises in chapter 4 and a summary of what we learned in chapter 4. So yeah, anything you want to add, KD? Any questions? Alright. I think I forgot to talk about the pop and yeah, modifying lists, but yeah. But anyway, cool.